The old farmhouse stood proudly in the heart of the Pine Barrens, its weathered exterior speaking of a bygone era. For the Smith family, it was a dream come true, a chance to escape the hectic pace of city life and start anew. Jack and Emily Smith, along with their 2 children, 12-year-old Hannah and 9-year-old Ethan, arrived on a bright summer afternoon, their hearts filled with hope and excitement. "This is it, kids," Jack announced, his voice full of enthusiasm. "Our new home." Hannah and Ethan ran ahead, exploring the vast, overgrown yard with its ancient trees and wildflowers. Emily stood beside Jack, her hand in his, smiling at the sight of their children's joy. "It's perfect," Emily said, her eyes glistening with happiness. As the family began to unpack and settle in, a local man named Tom, the caretaker of the property, approached. He was an elderly fellow with deep-set eyes that seemed to hold countless stories. "Welcome to Pine Barrens," Tom greeted them with a toothless smile. "This place has a lot of history. You know, some say it's even haunted." Jack laughed, dismissing the notion with a wave. "Ghost stories, huh? We'll have to look into that." Tom's smile faded slightly. "Just be careful out there. The Barrens can be unforgiving." The family paid little heed to Tom's warning, attributing it to local superstition. They were here for a fresh start, and nothing was going to dampen their spirits. The first few days were idyllic. The Smiths spent their time exploring the property, discovering hidden paths in the woods, and enjoying the peace and quiet. The children made a game of searching for wildlife, their laughter echoing through the trees. One evening, as the sun set behind the dense forest, casting long shadows across the yard, Hannah and Ethan stumbled upon an old, dilapidated barn. Its wooden doors hung ajar, creaking ominously in the gentle breeze. "Let's check it out," Ethan suggested, his eyes wide with curiosity. Hannah hesitated. "I don't know. It looks creepy." "Come on, scaredy cat," Ethan teased, pulling her along. Inside, the barn was dark and musty. Cobwebs hung from the rafters, and the air was thick with dust. As they ventured further, they found old farming tools and a collection of strange claw-like marks etched into the wooden walls. "What do you think made these?" Hannah asked, running her fingers over the deep grooves. "Maybe a bear," Ethan guessed, though he sounded unsure. Suddenly, a loud rustling noise from the loft above made them jump. They exchanged a nervous glance. "Let's get out of here," Hannah whispered, and they bolted from the barn, their hearts pounding. That night, as the family gathered for dinner, Hannah and Ethan excitedly recounted their adventure in the barn. Jack listened, a frown creasing his brow. "Claw marks, you say? Must be some kind of animal," he mused. "I'll take a look tomorrow." Emily, always the practical one, brushed it off. "It's an old barn, probably just raccoons or something." But Jack couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that settled over him. After dinner, he decided to do some research on the area. He stumbled upon numerous legends and tales about the Jersey Devil, a creature said to haunt the Pine Barrens for centuries. Descriptions varied, but all spoke of a monstrous being with bat-like wings, a horse-like face, and a blood-curdling scream. "Just old legends," Jack muttered to himself, but a chill ran down his spine. As night fell, the Smiths retired to their respective rooms. The farmhouse, despite its age, was cozy and warm, but the tranquility of the night was shattered by a distant, unearthly scream that echoed through the woods. Jack sat up in bed, his heart racing. Emily stirred beside him. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Yeah," Jack replied, trying to sound reassuring. "Probably just an animal," but the scream came again, louder this time, sending a wave of fear through the house. In the children's room, Hannah and Ethan huddled together, their faces pale with fright. "Dad," Hannah called out, her voice small and scared. Jack quickly got out of bed and went to comfort them. "It's okay, kids. It's probably just a fox or something." But deep down, he knew it was something more. He could feel it in his bones. The following day, Jack inspected the barn more closely. The claw marks were unlike anything he had ever seen. They were too deep, too precise to be from any known animal in the area. As he stood in the barn, a sense of being watched washed over him. He turned quickly but saw nothing. The forest seemed to close in around him, the trees whispering secrets he couldn't understand. Back at the house, Emily found an old diary hidden in a drawer. It belonged to the previous owner, a man named William Evans, who had lived there over a century ago. The entries were filled with disturbing accounts of strange occurrences and sightings of the Jersey Devil. "Jack, you need to see this," Emily said, handing him the diary. They read through the entries together, growing more uneasy with each page. The final entry was the most chilling. December 14, 1901. The creature is real. It comes at night, with eyes that burn like hellfire. I fear it wants my soul. If anyone finds this, beware the Pine Barrens. The Jersey Devil is not a myth. The realization hit them like a cold wave. The legends were true. They were in the Devil's playground. That night, the family barricaded themselves inside the farmhouse, determined to protect each other. But as the darkness fell, the atmosphere grew tense. Every creak, every rustle outside heightened their fear. Around midnight, the unearthly scream pierced the silence once more. It was closer this time, almost as if it was circling the house. Jack armed himself with an old shotgun he found in the barn, while Emily clutched a baseball bat. Suddenly, the power went out, plunging the house into darkness. The only light came from the full moon, casting eerie shadows through the windows. The family huddled together, their breath shallow and quick. "Stay close," Jack whispered, his voice barely audible. The next few hours were a blur of terror. The creator's cries grew louder, more insistent. They heard scratching at the windows, the sound of something heavy moving outside. At one point, Jack thought he saw glowing red eyes peering through the darkness, but when he aimed the shotgun, they vanished. As dawn approached, the sounds outside ceased. The family, exhausted and shaken, hoped it was over. But Jack knew better. He could feel the creator's presence, lurking just beyond the edge of the woods. "We need to leave," he said, his voice firm. "It's not safe here." They quickly gathered their belongings and prepared to make a run for the car. But as they stepped outside, the creature attacked. It was a blur of wings and claws, a nightmare come to life. Jack fired the shotgun, but the creature was too fast, too agile. Emily screamed as the beast knocked Jack to the ground, its eyes burning with malevolent intelligence. Hannah and Ethan were frozen with fear, unable to move. In a desperate act, Jack thrust the shotgun into the creator's face and fired. The blast sent it reeling back, screeching in pain. Taking advantage of the moment, the family ran to the car and sped away, leaving the farmhouse and its horrors behind. They drove for hours, not stopping until they reached the safety of a nearby town. There, they told their story to the authorities. But few believed them. The legend of the Jersey Devil was well known, but no one wanted to accept it as reality. For the Smith family, the experience left deep scars. They had escaped with their lives, but the memories of that night haunted them. They sold the farmhouse and moved far away, vowing never to return to the Pine Barrens. Years later, Hannah, now an adult, still had nightmares about the creature. She would wake up in a cold sweat, hearing its unearthly screams echoing in her mind. She often wondered if it was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its next victims. The legend of the Jersey Devil lived on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay hidden in the heart of the Pine Barrens. And for those who dared to venture too deep, it was a warning that some nightmares were all too real.